what is their databases, and start from the beginning, and it's for the newbies, right? And even though you have the little bit SQL knowledge, that will be helpful for you to catch up on the things quickly. And then once we gone through the 2 to 3 sessions, once we enter into the queries, it will be very helpful for you. Okay, at a high level, we gone through yesterday what is a database, right? What is a database? A database is a collection or the organization of your data. And database management system, DBMS, is a computer software which is allow us to create your databases, organize your database, read the databases, right? And Microsoft is the one of the vendor which will provide the SQL Server as a your DBMS system. And we have the SQL language which we will use to perform the operations on the DBMS system. And we gone through the installation yesterday, and we will go through the installation issues in the second part of the session, and how to install the SQL Server. And we have installed the SQL Server 2016 on our machine, right? Once you are installed the SQL Server 2016 on your machine, to connect to your database engine, you need to connect through the Management Studio. SQL Server Management Studio, SSMS, is the graphical user interface system where you can connect to your database engine, and Object Explorer will help you to go through the different objects what you have in the DBMS system. And once we connect to the Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio, it will ask you to select the server type and where your SQL Server got installed, and the server type is the database engine, and the server name where your SQL Server got installed. And you have the two types of authentications, SQL Server authentication and the Windows Server authentication. So the SQL Server authentication is a user and username and password pair, right? So while you are installing, you may observe there is an option called Windows authentication or the mixed authentication. If you have enabled, you have installed as a mixed authentication, then you are allowing to create one SQL Server login while your installation. So you can use that login to log into your machine, or you can use the Windows authentication to connect your machine. So anyone has any questions on authentication? I would like to hear from you and understand your question. Do you have any question on the screen? You can unmute yourself and talk, and we can go through the issue. These are the basics.
Are we?
Yep.
This is Ramesh. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Are we installing 2014 or 2016?
2016, the installation document what we have presenting over here in the link, it's going to be the even 2016. It got the step by step of the 2016. But even though you have 2008 R2, 2012, 2014, if you have installed any of the version already in your machine, you need not to reinstall again. So any version is fine for
okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, any version is fine for us shorter sessions. Our step-by-step documentation will cover how to install the latest version, 2016 SP1.
I think that some of us would need that because not all of us have the installation taken care of.
I understood. Yeah, definitely. We will allocate some time to go through the documentation today, and we will make sure that we. I already pasted the link in the IM. I will try to paste that link in the website also, so that you can go ahead and download the document to go through that one. I understand. Yes, that is the first important thing we have to cover before starting anything. We have to get ready our machines. Okay. So.
Excuse me. Can you please let me know where is putting the yesterday discussion on your website? Can you share that link actually?
Yes, I will Currently it is in the IAM, and we'll take that installation step at the second part of the
No,
session.
I'm not asking the installation step. Actually, I want to understand. I went to your site, but unable to find out where you're putting these sections actually.
Exactly. We will share that one after the, we'll take the last 10 minutes to show up where this link's placed and all these things. Okay.
Oh, fine. Thank you. Thank you.
We'll
Hi,
take it.
Vishwa.
Yes.
This is Meena. I have a quick question on the mixed authentication.
Yes.
In fact, I did mail to the email ID which you asked me to send. So the question goes like this. So when you talk about a mixed authentication as SQL Server, and I have created my SQL Server database in my home domain. So when I try to access my SQL Server using this authentication, SQL Server authentication from an external domain, maybe a public domain or any other home network, will I be still able to log in using the credentials, the login and the password which I gave, login name and the password which I gave?
Yeah, so if your machine, so basically the thing is, if you are in the other domain and your SQL server is installed in another domain, you are trying to access your SQL server. If your SQL server is on the, it should be on the same network. First thing, it should be on the same network. Then using the SQL server authentication or the Windows authentication, you can access. But from the applications, suppose if you created your website, okay, you are trying to connect to the remote server. It is in the, could you please mute yourself? Yeah, so which is in the other network kind of things. Then using the SQL server authentication you can access. So if your server is accessible through the net and using the username and password, SQL server authentication, yes, you can access your machine. Windows authentication.
Okay, so not with SSMS. So even if I use an SSMS from a different home network, say for instance,
Yes.
I can't access. That's what you're saying, right? I can't access the SSMS, or I can.
You can access. SSMS is a client tool. Okay, it's a graphical user interface tool. You can install in your machine or any other server. That is just a connectivity to connect your database engine. Okay, you can use the SSMS from any machine using the Windows authentication on the same network. The server and you should be on the same domain. Using the Windows authentication, you can connect, and the SQL server authentication, you can connect. If the server is accessible for you, using the SQL authentication, you can connect it. So if the server is in the net,
server is accessible, so is it something like a firewall setting that I need to do? And
yeah, TCP protocol, it has to be accessible. Okay, so basically whenever you are trying to connect with your application or something like that, you will give the connection strings and all these things. There you have to pass the username, password to connect to the server. So there will be TCP IP protocol will work to connect to your server. So if you
so that's an extra bit of code that I need to
yes,
add if I want to have it public. Okay.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. So if you use the Windows authentication, you need not to provide any username password. It will take the credentials what you are used to connect to your domain. And if you use the SQL Server authentication, it's required the username and password. So once we connect to the username and password, right? So here is the part where you will see, right? On the top, it will give you the server what you connected and the version what kind of SQL server you have installed, connected, and couple of the objects what you have in your database engine. So we will go through the very high level of these objects, and then we'll start talking about what is the data and what format data is stored in the databases and the remaining concepts. Okay, so once you connected here, you will see some kind of the system databases, the databases folder which has the system databases. These are all the pre-installed, predefined system databases, the master DB, model DB, MSDB, temp DB. So, and the couple of other projects, other folders. So the system databases is the databases created by the our software, right? So the master DB, which contains all your SQL Server installation information and your server level informations. So how many DBs you have in this server, who are the administrators, roles, and all these things. So all your server information is in the master DB. And in the model DB, you will have, suppose if you are trying to create a new database, how much size it has to allocate, how many file groups. So it's kind of a template to create a new database. So you can define a template using the model DB. What are all the properties you have to assign to your DB by default? That is the model DB. MSDB will be we'll talk about this one bit clearly later point of time. Just remember, all your jobs, if you want to periodically run your jobs scripts periodically, we need to create a jobs. Those job informations, those informations will be in the MSDB. And the temp DB, whenever you are writing some queries, reading the data, so the workspace, all the workspace information is in the temp DB. At a very high level, I am talking about these system databases. We'll go through these system databases after some point of time again. Okay, so the master DB will contains all the server level information. Model DB is the template where you can define the what kind of properties you can by default assign to your database. MSDB will contain all the jobs, your login information, those things, and the temp DB is the workspace environment, right? So any question over here? Okay, so once you created this one, right? So basically the database system, the database is the organization of your tables and views and all. So whenever I say the database is the collection of your data and organizing your data, means data, we are talking about the keep on data. What is the data? Data is the information what you want to store, right? So the data in the database stored in the form of tables. So the data, if you want to store in the database, it will be stored in the form of some tables. Okay, so whenever you talk about the table, right, the table will contain some columns. So this is a column 1, column 2, column 3 like this. And it will have the records or the data stored in the form of the rows. So the row 1, row 2, row 3. So these are all the data. Column 1, column 2, column 3 is the definition of the table. Example, let's take if I create a table employee. I want to store the employee information in a table. So could you please mute yourself, somebody? All of please unmute yourself, somebody. Jahnavi. So yeah, guys, please try to mute yourself until unless you have some question or something you want to express. So it's going to be a little bit noisy for the others also. Thanks for your cooperation. So yeah, can someone tell me if I want to store the employee information, right? So what could be the columns I can have in the employee table? Can someone can tell me? ID?
ID number.
Okay.
Employee ID, first name, second name, date of birth,
employee name.
Okay. So ID, ID number, first name, last name, date of birth. Yeah, date of birth, something like that, right? So that's good. So a table, if you want to store the employee information, you want to store a couple of employee ID, first name, last name, his date of birth, something like that. So this is the table, and these are all the first one. All these are all the called the columns. So if you have the sample data inserted in the table, so it's going to be employee ID 1, first name is equal to E1, E first name, let's take R Ram, something E last name, date of birth is 01/01/1980, something like that. So like this.
Excuse me, sir.
Yep.
Excuse me. So I have a question.
Yes,
Why
please.
it is in the column of H and I? Why not in A and B?
Yeah, this is the Excel environment I'm just using to you to explain. This is not the workspace where it will go and store. Okay, the screen what you are seeing is the Excel. I'm just using this environment to you explain. This is not
Right.
the database.
Right, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So
Right, sir.
yeah, so your data will be stored in the form of, so your table, right? TBL employee. Let's take. You have the table called the TBL employee. This is the name of the table, right? TBL underscore employee. So it has the columns ID, first name, last name, database, something, date of birth. Your data will be stored in the rows. So in one database, so these tables, whenever you created a table, the tables will be in one namespace. So there is a component called namespace. So let's take the DBO, that is the default namespace. A namespace is nothing but the collection of tables or organizing your tables. So you can have the, let's take the employee or the student, like the course table. If I want to have the some other table called the course, could somebody mute yourself, Ramesh? Sorry. So the so let's take, if I want to store the course information, can somebody tell me what kind of columns I can have in the course table? I want to store this SQL Server course. So the course detail, the course ID, let's take, and the course name, start date, end date. Suppose if I want to store this kind of information, I can have the TBL course. So this is the other table. So I can have the multiple tables in one schema. So what is a schema? A schema is the namespace where you organize your tables in the form of a group together. It's just a folder structure. Okay. So you can have all your sales tables into sales schema, all your HR related information into the HR schema, all your inventory information into the inventory schema. If you, let's assume you have a database where it has the 200 tables or 300 tables, to identifying the table which is required for you is a huge task, right? So just the namespace schema will help us to group together. Okay, these are all the tables related to this business. These are all the tables related to this business. The schema is just a namespace where you organize all your tables. Is it clear? Okay, so you will have your tables in schema. So all this schema will be in the database. Okay, all your schema. So you can have the more than one table in the default one schema, and like that you can have the more than one schemas in a database. Let's take, I given the name as the database session is the database. So you have the tables. Tables are in the namespace called the schema. So all the default schema I can mention. So all the schemas are in the database. All we have in the databases in a server instance. Let's take SQL 2016. I have installed this one, right? This is the instance, SQL Server instance. So all these instances will be on the server. Let's take TekZenius. Let's take if this is 2016 version, right? So you can install one server in this one SQL server type 2016 or 2014 like that. You can have multiple instances. You can create a dev environment like dev server, dev instance, UAT instance, production instance, like that. You can have multiple instances. In each instance, you can have the databases. In each database, there is a schemas. In each schema, there is a tables. And in each table, there is a columns. These are the columns, right? Is it simple to understand?
Can you repeat one more time, please? Can you repeat one more time? Just what I'm understanding, can you repeat one time? Just the schema, nothing but is a collection of the tables like that one?
Yes, a schema is the nothing but the collection of the tables grouped together. It's a kind of a namespace. Let's take, you have the 50 tables. Out of that, 10 tables related to the HR team, 10 table related to the sales team, 10 table related to the your inventory information. So to easily understand, easily group together the tables, you can design your table under a given schema.
And for example, HR having the one schema, production has the one schema, employees technical has the one schema like that one, correct? When you say it, or all coming under one group?
Business segment wise, think about it. You have your C drive. In your C drive, you can create multiple folders to allocate your files to separate. The same way, in the database, there is a different schemas you can create to just organize your tables. The default one is DBO. DBO is the default schema where all our table, whenever you created a table without mentioning any schema, that will go to the default schema called DBO, database objects.
One schema having the multiple type of correct, different type of will be correct.
Yes, one schema can have.
May not be having one same type, maybe different type or different departments related.
Yes, you can have. It's just our understanding confirmation. Okay. There is no strong restriction or technical restriction which will stop you to, okay, you are creating the sales table, it should not be under the HR related table schema. No, there is no technical restriction. This is our business understanding purpose or the developer convenience purpose.
Okay. And coming to the database means the each particular database having a particular department representation like that one?
Okay, the database is the collection of all your tables, all the schemas. So you are creating a database for your system. So let's take, you are implementing a database backend for your website. So you can create one database for your website where contains all the tables related tables or the information you are storing related to that website. Suppose you are creating some banking application, you can have one banking database. You can create one database where you can store all the tables related to that bank. So you can have the one database for the banking, one database for your online retail store, one database for your something CRM system. So the database is nothing but the collection of all the tables and the namespaces. So this is organizing.
I'm sorry for that. I'm interpreting. I'm a little bit confused. Database is also collection of the tables. Schema also collection of the tables. What exactly difference between the schema and database differentiation? That's what I want to understand.
Yeah. So the thing is, if you see here, so in the one given database, not only the tables, you can have the other objects called the views, stored procedures, functions, and you can assign to particular people. Let me create a small database right away here. Okay. Once we log in, so as we discussed here, first one is server, right? So TekZenius is the server and it is on 16 version. Under that instance is the SQL Server 2016. So whenever you are trying to connect here, right? So the database engine, the server name, whatever you are giving here, that is the server name which contains the server name / instance name. So under the so SQL 2016 is the instance name. So this is my machine name, nothing but the server name. Okay, so once you connected here, this is the server. Under that we have the multiple databases for the multiple purposes. So you can create one custom database, okay, called the session. You can create. So I'm going to have the database, all the tables related to our session. So when I create a table called session, it create an object called database session. Under this session, we have the different objects, tables, views, synonyms, and the programmability. We have the different objects. Under the tables, there is a namespace and the tables. So the tables is the part in the database. So in the tables, you can group together into the namespaces. Is it clear?
Yeah, it's clear.
That's good. Yeah, please speak out. That's why everyone can understand, and whatever the question you have, a lot of people may have the same kind of question. So feel free to speak out and get clarified. Here we are here to clarify your doubts, and it's going to be an interactive manner. I like it.
And for example, table has one schema. For example, stored procedure has one schema like that. Views has one schema like that.
No. Schema will come for the only table concepts. Forget about the stored procedures and all these things. Don't think about those things. Whenever the situation comes, I will let you know. Okay. Just the tables will be under the schema. So in one database, you can have the multiple tables, and multiple databases will be in the one instance, and on one server you can have multiple instances. So this is the hierarchy: a server, instance, database, and tables. Okay.
Quick question.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, you told that all the tables are created default to the DBO.
Yes.
If I want to create under a specific schema, what is the way to create?
We will go through that. Yes. We can create a new schema and we can move your table to the different schema. We'll go through that one. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So now think about one table. Table means a collection of columns we are mentioning, right? So
actually, if you don't mind, and everybody want to create more clear picture on that one, could you please start from the server and instance and database and default? That hierarchy, how we are going to start that one? The people may be finding the keeping more remember and more understandable is a better way.
Is this understandable, or is this is giving you the question?
No, I'm talking about, okay, first we are entering the server, then we call the server name, and we call the instance name, and we call the database name like that.
Yes, exactly.
You don't mind. I think you already explained it. Can repeat one more time if you don't mind.
Yes, yeah. Whenever you're trying to connect here, right, the server name you are giving. The server name, nothing but your server name and the instance name. Let's take, you have the 4 databases created in your dev environment. You can give the dev server name and the instance name in the same server. Server means nothing but the machine name / instance name. On the one machine you can have 2016 instance, 2014 instance, 2012 instance. You can have multiple instances, right? So the server name, nothing but the combination of machine name / instance name. That's why I have just separated here the server and the instance. Then once you connect here, it will, sorry, I need to give the password. That's fine. Once you connect here, there is a databases. Under the databases, there is a tables. So in the tables, you can create your tables into the multiple schemas.
I got it, man. Thank you.
Yeah. So in one table, we have the multiple columns, right? So a table means collection of columns. So the data will be in the rows, but your table, whenever I need to define a table means I need to define the columns. A column means what kind of information I'm going to be stored. Okay, here, if I see, I'm going to be store the employee number, EMP number, and the first name, last name, and date of birth. These are the column names, right? So whenever you talk about the column will have a data type. A data type is nothing but what kind of information you are going to be storing the data in that column. So whenever I talk about the employee number, what kind of information generally we will store in the employee number? Employee ID. So it could be the integer, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. Or if you have the something, your serial number or the employee number. So what kind of information you are storing? Either it is a numeric or a character or a date. So what kind of your information you are storing in your columns is called the data type of the given column. Okay. So a columns will be associated the property of data types. Okay. So a data type is nothing but the type of the information what you are storing. So the data types are categorized into multiple ways. One is numerics. Numerics is nothing but the numbers, right? Numbers like 1, 2, 3, your account number, your phone number. So the numerics is nothing but the numbers, and the character strings. So the names. So the thing is, what are the first name, last name? So the string character types, and you can have the date data types. So, and you can have you can store the date of birth, joining date, account creation date. So whenever you want to store the date, there is a different kind of the date data types we have, and we have some other data types also. We'll talk about other data types later. Okay, let me give you some introduction about these kind of data types. These are the primary basic information everyone must understand what kind of data type you have to define while you are creating a table, right? So generally people by default length they will take, by default values they will take, they will create. So the data type associated to a storage. So if you give the wrong data types, it will take the longer memory, long storage. So it will take the bigger storage, and while retrieval or inserting and everything is going to be the hitting your performance. So the granular part of the design start from the defining the data type of a given column. The choosing the right data type is mandate, and it is required for the better performance of your databases. Okay. Coming to the numerics, we have two types of numeric data types. One is exact numerics, and second one is the approximate numerics. Okay, in the exact numerics, we have the multiple types, like the bit. First one is the bit. Okay, let me type this one as the data type. Second one is the storage. Next one is the range or the values. So first data type is the bit. Suppose if you want to store some values, so basically in the computer, whatever you stored in the backend, it will store into the bit format, zeros and ones, right? So whatever the information you have created over here, everyone, whatever the information you are storing, that should be come along with some storage. Some these many bytes, these many bits, this will take the space on your hard disk, right? So bit data type will take 1 byte of storage. 1 byte equal to how many bits? Anyone can tell me? 1 byte equal to how many bits?
8.
8 bits.
8.
Yeah. So, Yeah, so 8 bits. So 1 byte is equal to 8 bits, and 1 KB is equal to 1024 bytes. 1 MB is equal to 1024 KBs. 1 GB is equal to
1024
MB.
MB.
Yes. So this is how your data storage, right? So how much memory you need? 5 GB, 10 GB, 100 GB means how many bytes you need, how many bits you need, right? So based upon the number of the bytes it take, if you have the, let's take, I have one data type. If I make one column as a bit data type, it took 1 byte storage. And the range of the values can store from, you can store only 0 or 1 or null, means nothing. You can leave it empty. So if you define a data type called bit, okay, if I give the employee ID is the data type of bit, I can enter either 0 or 1. So can I go for the employee ID to the bit? No. Whenever there is a flag kind of thing, is it true or false? Or is it yes or no? Suppose if you want to store, is it open or is it closed? You want to get the yes or no, true or false, 0 or 1. So those kind of information, if you want to store, you can define the data type as bit. If you create a data type as bit, that will take 1 byte storage, and the range of the numbers it can allow is 0, 1 or null. And as 1 byte is equal to 8 bits, right? In the table, if you have more than 8 columns, which are defined as a bit, the 9th column onwards, it took 2 bytes. So 1 to 8 columns, it took 1 byte. 9 to 15, it took 2 bytes, like that. Like it's need the overage. So number of columns in your table have the bit data type will define the how much storage is take. Okay. The next data type is tiny int. Tiny int, which will take again 1 byte, but the range is 0 to 255. Suppose let's take, you have the number of courses, the course number, something like that. So can you assume you have the more than 255 courses or something like that? Or let's take you have gender kind of things. You want to store some, not the gender. Let me give some other example. Let's take you have you can take some, let's take, I have the product category, something like that. I have the categories of clocks, computer accessories, something like that. I have the accessories. Let's assume I have the accessories or the categories. Maximum I can have 10 type of categories, or maximum I can go for the 10 courses or 15 courses, 20 courses. If my course number of courses are less than 255, I'm expecting maximum 100 or 150, then I can go for the teeny bit, teeny int. Okay, I can't use the bit because it can allow me 0, 1 only. If you want to store the number between the 0 to 255, you can go for the teeny int. That will take again 1 byte of storage. Okay, the next one is the small int, which will take the 2 bytes. This one will take the information from minus 2 power 15 to 2 power 15 minus 1, which means, so let me tell you, sorry. So I can write down that one. If you use the tiny int, you can't use the negative numbers. Okay, but if you use the small int, 2 power 15 means it's a 32,768, something like that. Okay, is equal to 2 power 15, 32,768. So you, by using the small int, the number range from minus 32,768 to 32,767 plus 32,767. So if your number range between these two numbers, you can freely go and use the small int data type. That way you can allocate, that will take one column will take the 2 bytes. Let's take, I have the employee number, or the let's take the online training course, right? Employee ID or the student ID. I'm trying to give each student one number. In our course, I'm expecting at least maximum 150 numbers. Then I can go for the thin int. I need not to go for the small int. Let's assume I'm expecting the 1,000 members. Then I can't go for the thin int. I have to go for the small int. Then each column, each row will take 2 bytes of the space for that column, right? So this small int is from the 2 power 15 minus 2 power 15 to, so I can keep, sorry, minus 2 power 15 to 2 power 15 plus 1. This is the range. Okay. Next one is the integer, which is the 4 bytes. So you can easily remember, you need not to remember this number. So if you see, the small trick is the 2 bytes means, okay, 16, 2 8, 16 bits. 16 bits means minus 2 power 15 to 2 power 15. Now can anyone tell me, if I take the 4 bytes, what could be the range?
32.
Yes, exactly.
Correct.
Yeah, minus 2
Mm.
power 32 minus 1, minus 2 power 32 to 2 power 32 minus 1. Okay. And that is the integer. So now let's assume if you are doing the your sales or something like that, then you are tracking the each transaction number. So if you are assuming it's going to be the 64, sorry, it's a, okay, if I go for the 2 power 32 is equal, so this is the number. If I go for the number, let's take it is almost the 4 million, right? 4 billion. So if your number are between that range, you can freely go for the integer. That's why whenever you're if you don't know these parts, people directly will go, just they will give the employee ID is equal to integer. Okay. Do I really need the employee ID integer data type? Is it required that much? So how much my organization big? How much I can see the growth? Or let's take the product numbers. So I can go for the product for the small int. I can see the products. You can have the at least 1,000 products or 2,000 products or 3,000 products. You can't see the more than 32,000 products, right? So in a given product organization, whatever it is. So this is the matter again. If you see, let's take if a table has a million rows. Each column is taking the 2 bytes extra. So million rows will take the 2 million bytes extra. The storage is going more, and when you are trying to read also, it has to process a lot of information. It has to go to the different pages and get the information. So if you didn't provide the right data type, you are just over allocated, this will hit your performance also, right? Is it clear? Like in the integer, we have the 4 bytes of this one, right? Then the big int, the next category, which is the 8 bytes. Again 2 power 64, right? Minus 2 power 64 to 2 power 64 plus 1. I'm sorry. Then there is a, sometimes you need to provide the decimal values, right? The decimal values. We have the two types of the exact numeric decimal values, which means it's a numeric or the decimal. Numeric or the decimal or the exact numeric data types. So numeric means it's a precision and the scale you have to provide in the form of let's take p comma yes. You should mention like this, okay? Data type amount is equal to numeric 5 comma 2. If I mention like this, okay, if I mention the numeric 5 comma 2, my total length of the number is 5 characters, 5 digits. In that one, after 2 digits, two are the precisions. So basically I can give like this 1 2 3 4 5. So if I mention the numeric 5 comma 2, this should be 123.45. So that if I mention the numeric 5 comma 2 means it can allow, it will represent the data is like this 123.45. So I can specify maximum is 99999, right? So like this. So based upon your amount or the value, what is the range of the value, you need to specify this. The first character is called the precision, second one called the scale, p comma s. So you can define 1 to 38 precision. One is the precision. So you can define 38 characters like numeric 38 comma. That is the maximum precision. You can't give the numeric 40 comma something like that. So you can't define the integer which is has the 40 characters, 40 digits. You can define maximum 38. Okay. And the scale is again whatever the precision you mentioned, less than to that one, right? If you mentioned 38, you can give the comma 1 or comma 2 till 37 or 38 you can give. You can't give 39 something like that. So the precision and scale is depend on that one. The precision you can go till 1 to 38. Number of the precisions you have specified, the storage is deferred. Let's take if you have the 1 to 9, numeric value is 1 to 9. So the first p value between 1 to 9, that would take 1 to 9 digits, then it will take 5 bytes storage. Okay, if it is between the 10 to 19, it's going to be 9 bytes. 10 to 19, it will be 9 bytes. If it is between 20 to 28, it's going to be 13 bytes. Okay, so it's going to be 29 to 38, it's going to be 17 bytes, 19 bytes. 19 bytes. Okay, this is the storage. Based upon the p value, whatever you have given, the number of bytes will be defined. And again, the value, how it's represented is the first value, p is the total digit numbers, and the second one is the scale, how many decimal points you want. Okay, so based upon the range, suppose if I'm giving the amount as a data type, column name, I want to know the product sales value or the amount value. So then I can give, okay, if I mention my product value between $1 to $1,000, then I can simply go for around between 9 characters maximum, right? So I can go for the 1 to 9. So if I give the 9, so it will take 1 2 3 4 5 5 6 7 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So I can store till the 100 million, right? So based upon the requirement, we will choose the numeric. By default in SQL Server, people used to do the 18,2. 18,2. I see a lot of people will just give the 18,2. That is the default. If I use the 18 characters, always my number, even though I stored the $100, just 3 characters, it would allocate the 9 bytes. Even though I give the 5,000, even though I give the 10,000, it will allocate always the 9 bytes. So that is the overage, over storage. You are just giving the maximum number something. If your application is a very small one, it doesn't make any problem for you. If your application is more, it is a big problem. If the number of rows increased, that's a big problem. Is it clear?
Yes.
And yeah, the decimal is just a synonym for the numeric. You can give the numeric of this one or the decimal of that one. So decimal and numeric both are the interchangeables. And there is one more data type called money, small money, and money. If you want to specify your information in the form of 10,000s, in the kind of a dollar values kind of things, then the banking system will use the small money and money data types also. So most of the times in regular data types, we'll go for the numeric or decimals to just capture the decimal values also. Very rare scenarios, the banking applications, very specific where you need to specify your numbers in the 10,000 format kind of things, then people will go for the money and small money. So these are the exact numeric data types. Any questions over here? It is very much required everyone to understand what data type I need to give for my given column. Right? Suppose if I'm creating the employee table, if I have the employee number, what data type you would suggest? Anyone can answer.
Integer.
Integer.
Small int.
Yeah, small int is fine enough, I hope. Yeah, it's going to be around 32,000 kind of things, right? So you can go for the small int. It's based upon the organization, but if you are the small organization, just a startup company kind of thing, then I no need not to give for the integer kind of thing, right? So, and let's take if you have some sales information, you have the transaction table where you are keeping the transaction ID in your sales thing. Whenever the customer buy, there is a record in your table saying that this customer bought this one. So at that point of time, I can give for the big int because I can have the million transactions given day. Let's take the Facebook logins. How many times you login ID. I just want to maintain the number of times you log in, 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. Those things I can go for the begin because those are the very huge volume data. So based upon the data what you have, you need to define the data type what you want to choose.
Sir, what is the difference between numeric and decimal?
Decimal and numeric both are the same. It is just the synonyms, okay? And ANSI format. So there is a format called ANSI format. Some systems will identify the decimal, some systems will identify the numeric, but mostly both are the same. You can define the numeric of this one in your regular systems. Okay, very few applications where it is required your data should be in the ANSI format. There we have to go for the decimal, but both are just the synonyms. Both decimal and numeric both are the same data type. There is no difference.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. And okay, anyone has any other questions over here? Maybe I can quickly jump on to the character one, and we will come back to the data types again also. Please allow me to next 5 more minutes on the character ones. Okay, that way at least you can go back to home and list out the tables what you want thinking, and you can list out the columns. Okay, let's take I want to design the employee table. What are all the columns I have? What is the data type? Between the number and the this one, you can design your own tables. You can think of the different tables. Okay, that's why let me complete the character types also. As I mentioned here, we have the numeric, date, character, and the others, right? So in the character means if you want to store the names, alphabets and all these things. So that is the character. So we have the two types of under the character also. One is the character, another one is the Unicode characters, Unicode strings, Unicode characters or strings. I can mention this one as the character strings or the Unicode strings. Okay, in the character strings, we have again two types. One is char, which is the fixed length. Okay, fixed length, and you can give between 1 to 8,000. Range is 1 to 8,000 characters. 8,000 characters. So you can give the and the storage will, let's take if I give the character of 5. So I can give the any character which has the 5 length. Okay, I can, and 5 or under. So I can give Ram, Sita, A, B, C, D, E. Like this I can store. I can't store something this number, this character. I can't store here. So if the number of characters what you can allow is the length what you need to specify. So character of n, you can mention character of n. N should be from 1 to 8,000 characters, right? So if you specify character of 10, so always this will allocate 10 bytes. If you specify character of 100, it will allocate 100 bytes. Then you specified as character of 10 and you store the name as A or AB. You specified character 10, but you just entered one character. Still it will allocate the 10 bytes. If you specified AB, still it will allocate the 10 characters. So whenever you are using character data type, you should make sure that what is the maximum length you can go. You need to understand your data, what kind of data you have and what is how many length it should be. You need to identify the range. Okay, all my names are okay below 10 characters. Then you have to give the 10 only. You should not give the 100. If you give the 100, even whatever the name you give below 100 characters, it always allocate the 100 bytes. So that's why the character is the fixed data, fixed length. The length is fixed. So there is a variable length also. It's called varchar. So the varchar, you can give the again 1 to 8,000 only. But here, if you give the varchar of 10, okay, if you give the two characters, let's take A. It is one character, right? So it will take 1 plus 2 characters as overhead. So totally 3 bytes it will take. 3 bytes. So n plus 2. N plus 2 bytes. So it's based upon your data, the storage will be allocated. If you specify varchar, then based upon your data, the storage will be allocated. Suppose if you give the 100, something like this, length of this character is, let's say 10, right? So this will take, if I give the 15 here or 100, if I give the 100 and I just give that string, then it will allocate only 12 bytes. It won't allocate the 100 bytes. But if I specify just character, it will allocate always the 100 bytes. That is the difference between fixed character and var character. So the size will be 1 to 8,000. 8,000 characters you can maximum allocate. Any questions over here?
Can you please repeat var character again?
Var character is the variable length. It's the same as the character, but the storage will be based upon the characters you have entered. On the column, let's take you give the first name. Okay, first name, and you give Ram. Then it would allocate 3 characters, 3 bytes plus 2 bytes overhead. So it's going to be 5 bytes. But if you give the fixed length, let's take if you define varchar of 20, then you give the name as Ram, then it will allocate 5 bytes. If you give name as Robert, something like that. So then it's going to be 6 plus 2, 8 bytes. If you give something Sita, it's going to be 6 bytes. N plus 2 bytes it will allocate. Okay, it's going to be n plus 2 bytes. N is the length what you have entered. It's based upon your data, the storage will be changed. But if you specify just a character of 20, whatever the value you have entered, either Ram, Robert or Sita, whatever you have entered, it always allocate 20 bytes. Is it clear?
Yes, and what if the character name or the first name goes beyond 20?
Then it won't go. It will truncate and load it. It will just take the 20 characters and load it. Remaining thing will be cut down.
Okay.
Okay, and based upon the setting, application setting, sometimes it will truncate, sometimes it will fail also. It's based upon the application settings, what you do. On the truncation, would like to continue, would like to fail, or you just need to truncate and load it. It's based upon the settings what you have. But the final intention is it can hold till 20 characters only. Okay, there is a Unicode strings. It's called start with nchar. The Unicode string is the special characters, the characters where you have some language, so Chinese language, Russian language. There are some special characters, right? Those kind of special characters, if you want to hold some smiley symbols, something like that. If you want some special characters, if you want to hold, then the Unicode string. Unicode string take 2 bytes for each length. So let's take you have the nchar of 5. It's always allocate 10 bytes. If you have give the nchar of 20, how much it would allocate? If I give the nchar of 20, how much storage it would take?
40.
4. Irrespective of your value. Your value could be just Ram or Robert, whatever it is. Irrespective of your values, it is a fixed Unicode string, which will allocate 2 into n. Okay, that is the story. But if you give the variable also Unicode, and that's why as it's taking the 2 bytes, the total number of characters it can fit is 4,000 characters only, right? So 1 to 4,000 characters maximum. You can allocate only 4,000 characters. So you can give n char till 4,000. So there is one more thing also, n varchar, Unicode variable length. Here also the same concept of the varchar, but it will allocate the 2 into n plus 2 bytes overage. N varchar of 20, but this is the variable length, right? Based upon the data what you have mentioned. So if you have the RAM, then it's going to be 2 into 3, 6 bytes plus 2 bytes overage. So 6 plus 2 is going to be 8 bytes. Okay. So based upon the usage, you need to specify either you are going for the character or the variable character. Then now you tell me, if I have a comment section, comments, I want to store the comments, then what kind of data type would you suggest?
Repeat one more time.
If I want to store the values in the comment section, then what kind of things you want to suggest for me? So I can go for the based upon the language. If it is a plain keyboard information kind of things, then I can go for the varchar. So that varchar of something 500 or 1000 I can give, right? So I'm expecting my comment should be less than 1000 characters, something like that. Or let's take the first name. maximum 50 characters, right? Any name, I think the maximum one is 50. General one is 50, 20 characters, something like that. So I can give varchar of 20, something like that, or 30 or 40. But if I want to store some Chinese language name or some other special character names, then I need to specify n varchar. Okay. Yeah.
I'm in a small doubt actually. And apart from that letters A to Z, if you want to include the numbers also, we can go for the variable char in varchar.
That's good. So in the character or the Unicode characters, you can combination of anything. Numbers or the characters, anything. You can give 2A, something like that.
I understood the Unicode character. I'm talking about the character string. The character string I'm only for the letters. It's also contain the numbers also.
You can give the numbers also. Character strings also you can give. Okay, character. You can give as a 2 or you can give as 2A. Both will be treated as this one. But whenever the aggregation comes, you want to add up the things. If you define as the character, you give the value 2, and the another value you give the 3. You want to do the 2 columns combination, then aggregation function won't work. If you define as a character, the integers also treated as a character when you are inserting. It won't treat it as a numeric. Okay. Any other questions?
So in that case, for example, if you go to Unicode characters, then it will be treated as a number?
No, Unicode as a character. Character strings or the Unicode strings, both are treated as a characters only. The difference between the character strings and Unicode strings is Unicode strings would accept the special characters in the string. You can give the plain string also, or you can give the special characters also. Then Unicode string will accept it, but the storage will be double the normal character strings. Okay.
That is character string as only 1 byte, and it is the 2 bytes, correct?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Character string is 1 byte. Unicode string is 2 bytes per the one length. Okay. And the maximum length of characters you can give in the character is 8,000. Unicode is 4,000. And here you have the character and variable character. Variable character, based upon the data what you entered, the storage will be allocated. The number of, if you have the n digits, n characters, it's going to be n plus 2 bytes. 2 bytes is the overhead. Okay. Now, just think about this one. Go back to home and just think about our online session, or take about the, let's decide one project. Okay. Now onwards, we will just go through the examples of that application. Online retail stores, right? Sears.com or Macy's, something like that, right? So then online retail store, what are all the possible tables you should have? And in each table, what are the possible columns you can think of? And in each column, what is the possible data type you can mention? Just write down on the paper and try to collect it. And tomorrow we will complete the remaining data types. Like we have the date data types and we have some approximate numeric data types. We'll cover those basics. Then we will start how to actually create a table. Before going to create a table, I would like you to understand what you are writing, right? So whenever I'm trying to write a create table, table name, column A and data type, column B, data type. So I need to give the data type. So we need to understand what data type we have to mention over there. Okay.
You want to understand the online transaction, correct? You are giving it's online transaction, correct?
Exactly. Online transaction system. Everybody knows any online system, right? Like the Sears.com, Macy's.com, or something. Any online store. Online retailer. Yeah. Any online retail store. What kind of information you are seeing in the screen? So how this data is storing on the back end? Just think about that one and just drop the table names and the column names and data types what you can think of. Then tomorrow we can go through the other data types and create few tables with a few data types. Okay. Thanks for your patience and overtime. I may take 5 to 10 minutes like this based upon the topics. If I don't want to cut exactly in middle by the 8 o'clock. So that's why thanks for your patience. and we will update the instructions. Okay, I'm pasting the link.
And you told me that the end of the section you're going to show that one where that your particular to the record will be kept in your site.
Yeah, site one. Let me see. So I just pinged one link on the IM window. Can you guys able to access that one where it has a step-by-step instruction, and in the site also they will place the link. It's not yet ready. They will place the link and they will share the mail. Or once you log in, I think you guys already have the link to see the recorded audio, right? The same way you will get some pop-up or saying that okay, this is the documentation, and I'm pinging the link in the IM window right away just to try to get the see whether you are able to access that link or not. Are you guys able to access that link? I just pasted one link on the IM window. Let me paste it again. You can download from there. You need not to wait the site to update. Site will update definitely, but I'm just pasting in the this window. Let me. Okay, this is the G drive. It's just open for everyone.
Can you give that link for everybody to copy and paste for that?
Yes, that's what I'm pinging in the GoToMeeting IM. Please try to copy from there. You can copy from there.
Are
you guys
you're talking charting item? Because I'm unable to copy this one.
You are unable to copy that one. I would request the team to update the link in the website.
No. What instead of that, can I do that in the chart item? Copy paste from your end.
Pardon? Sorry, I'm hardly able to hear you.
What I'm asking that can copy paste in the chart.
Sorry, I'm hardly able to.
No, what I'm saying.